Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the really powerful and honestly kind of challenging ideas of E.M. Bounds on what prayer is all about.
Right off the bat, Bounds hits us with this powerful declaration. See, for him, prayer isn't some passive, sentimental thing. No, it's work. In fact, it's the most vital, the most divine work a person can possibly do.
So here's how we're going to break down his perspective. We'll walk through these 5 key themes, starting with what he actually means by prayer.
Okay, let's jump into part 1, the reality of prayer. Bounds kicks things off by telling us that prayer is way more than just asking for stuff.
You see, in its biggest sense, prayer is all about relationship. It's not a shopping list of requests. It's about connecting with God. It's communion. It's fellowship. It's actually enjoying His presence.
And he draws this really important line between different kinds of prayer. On one hand, you've got supplication. That's our intense, personal, I need help now kind of prayer. But then there's intercession, which is when we move past our own needs and start praying for others with this bold, trusting confidence.
All right, section 2, Jesus as the perfect model. To really get what prayer looks like in action, Bounds tells us to look no further than Jesus Christ. And he uses these stories of Jesus healing blind men to make a really profound point.
So, in this first healing, I want you to notice the method. Jesus uses this physical act, clay and spittle, right? But the miracle isn't complete without one absolutely crucial element, the man's own obedience to go and do what he was told. But then you get this second case, and it's totally different. The healing was gradual. It happened in stages. And this shows us, that God's answer doesn't always come like a lightning bolt. Sometimes it's a process that requires our quiet, submissive trust along the way.
And then you have blind Bartimaeus. This story is incredible. Here it was the man's own relentless, unwavering faith, just crying out over and over, that led to an instant, complete miracle with nothing more than a single word from Jesus.
So when you lay it all out like this, you see something amazing. The method was different every single time. Obedience, trust, persistence, the how kept changing. But you know what stayed the same? The divine power and the result. For Bounds, this just proves that the method isn't the point. The source of the power is.
Okay, this all leads to the big question, right? How do we pray effectively? And for Bounds, the answer centers on this incredibly deep idea, getting our own desires lined up with God's will.
He says the perfect roadmap is right there in the Lord's Prayer. But look at the sequence. It is everything. It starts with worship, then moves to wanting God's kingdom and His will to happen, and only then does it get to our personal needs. The order is the key.
I mean, listen to the confidence in this high priestly prayer. Jesus speaks with this amazing royal authority. He says, I will, not I ask, because His desires are already perfectly in sync with the Father's plan.
But then you have the Garden of Gethsemane, and it's a completely different posture. Facing this unimaginable suffering, Jesus shows us what profound submission looks like, choosing God's will over His own very human desire for relief.
So what does it take to foster this kind of powerful prayer life? Well, Bounds lays out a few essential conditions, things we need to cultivate inside and out.
This teaching from Jesus is just huge. He's saying our horizontal relationships, how we treat other people, directly affects our vertical relationship with God. Fixing things with others isn't just a nice idea. It's a prerequisite to even approaching God in the first place.
So he identifies all these key attitudes, right? Recognizing we're totally dependent on God, having a pure heart, forgiving people, and just sticking with it. This whole idea frames prayer not as some casual thing we do, but as a disciplined, all-in, heartfelt practice.
And that brings us to the grand finale. If our hearts are in the right place, if these conditions are met, what's actually possible through prayer? According to Bounds, the possibilities are, well, absolutely limitless.
I love this analogy. He's saying that prayer isn't just something we do, it's a fundamental force, an invisible law that holds the spiritual world together, just like gravity holds the physical world together.
And get this number, 12. The night He was arrested, knowing what was coming, Jesus said He could pray and His Father would send more than 12 legions of angels to save Him. That's over 70,000 angels. It just shows that prayer has the power to change even the things that seem totally set in stone.
And this, really, is the ultimate takeaway from all of Bound's work. He's making the case that sincere, heartfelt prayer isn't just for comfort. It can actually influence God, it can shape what happens, and it can unlock His greatest blessings in a way that literally nothing else can.
And that kind of leaves us with one final big question to think about. If prayer really is the mightiest work a person can do, what could that work truly accomplish in our own lives and in the world around us?